I'm Amani Jambakar. I'm the medical director of surgical breast oncology at Christus St. Vincent in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And today I'm here to talk about why every hospital needs a KUBTEC specimen tomosynthesis, because it decreases re-excisions and increases patient satisfaction. If you look at 2D versus 3D intraoperative specimen imaging, the sensitivity in terms of margin assessment goes up with 3D specimen imaging, and the re-excision rates go down. And a reduction in re-excision rate equals better patient outcomes and better use of operating room time. The national re-excision rate following breast conservation is approximately 20%, and it really hasn't changed in the last decade or so. The use of intraoperative specimen tomosynthesis or 3D specimen imaging can decrease the re-excision rate down to 8%, and I've seen recent studies even lower than that. I personally have a re-excision rate of 0.
When it comes to specimen imaging, there's only one name you need to know. It's KUBTEC.
Welcome back to the Mood Food Podcast. This episode is personal, not just because it's about breast cancer awareness, a topic close to so many of us, but because it's also about the power of purpose-driven innovation. I'm joined by Vikram Butani, my husband, co-founder and CEO of KUBTEC, a company that just celebrated 20 years of changing lives through surgical imaging. And we are also joined by Tom Siffringer, KUBTEC's passionate Vice President of Clinical Sales, who works closely with the surgeons on the front lines. Together, we'll dive into the technology that's transforming breast cancer surgery, the emotion behind the mission, and why, after 2 decades, this work is more urgent and more meaningful than ever. This is not just a story about science, it's a story about saving time, tissue, trauma, and most importantly, lives. So, KUBTEC just celebrated 20 years. That's an incredible journey. Vikram, looking back, what do you remember about the very first day?
When you're starting a company, I don't know, there is such a thing as a very first day. It's a blur of the first few weeks when you're trying to make up your mind, am I going to start a company? To where, I mean, this was very unique. We started the company because we got an order, even before we had registered the company, or we got a verbal go ahead that we're going to get an order. So I guess that would be the first day.
Right.
It was an amazing feeling walking out of that office, knowing that I didn't have a job, and here was somebody who trusted me with a $150,000 order off of a presentation that I had printed at Kinko's. So that's what I remember, just that feeling of, oh my God.
So how was that feeling that you started a business? You actually are on your way to do something that's going to make a difference.
I didn't think that big. It wasn't, oh my God, I'm going to have a company, I'm going to have people. You don't think that way. It was very, almost transactional. There was a part of me that was in shock that how could somebody trust me off of a PowerPoint presentation on 7 sheets of paper and give me an order for $150,000? Taking that in was, I remember that very distinctly. And then as soon as you get over that, it's like, oh my God, now I have to deliver. So I don't know if there was any thought about, oh, this is going to be a company or there's going to be people that need to be hired.
And so there it was. You had a company before you had a company.
Absolutely.
And so what did you name it and why did you name it that?
Luckily, I'm married to a very smart woman, a lot smarter than I am, who came up with this idea. So I'm not a doctor, but both my parents are doctors and my grandfather was a doctor. And my parents always wanted me to go to medical school and were disappointed when I did go to medical school. And so it was my wife's idea that we should name the company KUB Technologies, which KUB are my father's initials. And so that's where KUB Technologies comes from. And KUBTEC is just a shortening of KUB Technologies. In the first few weeks, when we were offering our specimen X-ray systems to radiology departments, because the concept of having this in the OR didn't exist back then, everybody understood KUB because KUB stands for kidney, ureter, bladder. So if you go in for an abdominal X-ray, they say you're in for a KUB X-ray. Yeah. So it wasn't a foreign term to people in radiology.
It just automatically.
They accepted it very easily.
Right. Right. So that it's a simple name, but it means a lot to you.
Right.
So what has surprised you most about where KUBTEC is today versus where you thought it would be 20 years ago?
Like I said, I didn't think about where will it be, or even today, every day is a new day because I am somewhere where I wasn't yesterday, or I haven't been. As we grow, it is very unique a feeling. I don't know if as you grow, as you become established, as you conquer certain challenges, you get a little used to, okay, I'm sure I can do this. We can do this. We're good enough, or we're really good at this. So as we develop new systems, you get more comfortable about taking on challenges. And as you hire people, and I say this every day, we're always looking to hire people who can help us grow. I've always looked to add people to my team who are a lot smarter than me. And so when you bring in people who are a lot smarter than you get more and more confident that you can conquer challenges. So
I can tell you this, when we started the company, I wasn't thinking of what I'm putting out in the world. But today I feel like, what we do here actually saves a lot of people, a lot of pain and trouble. And it has become something that I really, really, feel very good about. And I hope everyone that works here understands what their contribution is to what we're putting out there. At 20 years, you feel like you've been here a while. And I feel like, whatever we do, it's only to improve what we've done yesterday. And hopefully we can continue on this journey, whether it's a growing company. The more you grow, the more you can do this. You can give back in various ways. So I think that is kind of what I feel at this moment when it comes to this company.
absolutely agree.
So over these 2 decades, what core value has remained unchanged, no matter how much the technology has changed?
I would say two things. The most important thing, and this is something that we live by, is do the right thing. No matter what aspect of the business or the personal life, it is always do the right thing. And we kind of preach this or share this with all our team members, with all the employees of KUBTEC.
Right.
And the second thing, which is really at the core of what established KUBTEC, is customer service. As long as you take care of the customer, you will not go out of business. You do right by the customer. That has been at the very core of our existence.
I think it's very important to understand this, that customer service is not, providing a customer just, satisfaction of this is what we are, this is who we are, but backing our product up in the sense that, we're doing a good job with what we're making here. But if you need help, we're here for you.
And as much as a company that manufactures equipment, our customer may be the hospital system, or maybe the surgeon or the pathology assistant, but at the very core of all of this, our customer truly is the patient. And as long as we build technology that improves the quality of care for the patient,
Right.
everything else falls in line with that.
Right. Right. I think when we, say 20 years ago, service was a thing. It doesn't matter whether you went to the mall or you went to buy an electronic device. It meant something. In today's day and age, that has disappeared. If you call you call somebody to say my device is broken, or I don't, I need to return this, or there's a problem here, you never get a human being on the other side. But when you call our company here, we make sure you're talking to a human as opposed to an answering machine. It's like you said, at the core of whatever we do, there is service.
And you're talking to a human being right here in Connecticut, usually, or at least in the United States.
Right. So that's important. Tom, you've seen KUBTEC in its current form. What does a 20-year legacy mean to you and the surgeons you speak to every day?
Well, I wasn't here for the first 12 years, but I've been here for the last 8 or so. And the growth has been incredible to see what the company was like when I first joined. And now it's really kind of hard to fathom. But I think, at the end of the day, we're interested in improving patient outcomes, right? And that's what surgeons are interested in as well, right? So I think the legacy is that we are helping surgeons face the challenges they have intraoperatively and elsewhere. And as Vikram said, that helps the patient, and that's what's most important.
Right, right. And I mean, for me, it means we've been here for 20 years. We're not going away anywhere. So our product is reliable, the company is reliable, and we provide a service that is like no other.
Agreed. And we're a bit of a unicorn, right? I mean, in this space, a private company is a pretty rare thing, right? And so I think we were just talking with another health network administrator earlier today, and she mentioned to us how important service is. And I think we can kind of uniquely address that service piece because, as you said, someone's picking up the phone. It's not a robot. It's not a callback 5 hours later.
Right.
We're unique.
We definitely are. And I think that's kind of what our value is essentially throughout, from the first day to today at 20 years, that we're here for you no matter what happens with your machine, with your patient. We're here to service whatever it is that you need from us. So if you had to describe KUBTEC's 20 years in just 3 words, what would they be?
Ambitious. I think we're a very ambitious company led by a very ambitious leader. I think ambition drives the next word, innovation, right? Very innovative. And lastly, I would say resilient. It's the medical device space is not an easy space, and it's certainly not an easy space in which to grow. And our growth has been amazing. That's because of the great ideas and the great people here.
Yeah, I think we've had unique challenges in the past 20 years, but I want to know what you would,
Well, I would put a twist on it, and the 3 words I would choose is no more cancer. I think that's what drives us.
Right.
Is a patient that comes in for cancer surgery.
Right.
We do everything we can to ensure that the patient doesn't have to come back for another surgery so that the cancer has been removed the first time. We have a focus to grow in that space, and that's something that drives us. So my 3 words would be no more cancer.
Well said. Well said. So what's the proudest moment from this journey so far, and what's the lesson you're carrying into the next 20 years?
Oh, that's a tough one, but a couple things come to mind. But um, what I'm very proud of is I will say our resilience. I don't know, 8 years ago or so, we had a fire here, and none of our customers felt left down. Left out, let down. They no one would have known had we not told them. It's really hard to believe that a company can essentially lose almost everything, right, and be back up and running literally the next day. And I think that's kind of emblematic, right, of what a patient goes through. Right. You have to have that resilience, setbacks, going through surgery, a second surgery sometimes, which is a passion of ours, trying to amend that, treatment afterward, right? So that's why resilience was an important word for me. I think that's what I think of. I'm proud of that.
I think that's what the unique challenges have been in the past 10 years or so. So we had a fire, then we had to face COVID, which kind of kept us out of hospitals, yeah, to even share what we have over here. So it was a huge challenge. But I think we faced it with a lot of bravado. And, we came out pretty good. That's why we're here today. What do you think?
It's hard to pick just one moment. I definitely agree. The way the team, the company reacted after the fire. The fire happened on a Sunday afternoon. Luckily, there was nobody in the building, but everybody showed up for work on Monday morning. We didn't let go anyone. By Tuesday, the town, the mayor and the town helped us find an alternate location.
Right.
By Thursday, we had computers from Dell, the server, we could download stuff from the cloud, and we couldn't ship a system for another 6 months after that. But the fact that everybody came in every day,
Right,
and stuck through the journey with us was amazing. It was extremely it's maybe it is naive on my part, but when I see things like this, I'm just in awe that this could happen to me.
right,
I'm just grateful, just grateful
Right.
that people could treat me that way, and that they could stick by us and work through this with us. I mean, there have been other instances earlier on. I mean, we had the pathology team from Memorial Sloan Kettering get in a stretch limousine and come and visit us in Milford, where we were in a warehouse. There was no air conditioning in that place, but they came and they visited us because they wanted to buy a system, which we were the only company in the world that built that system.
Right.
And they purchased the system. Of course, now, 15 years later, they have multiple systems
Correct.
in pathology at Memorial Sloan Kettering. So things like that. It's you got to pinch yourself sometimes to remind yourself how lucky you are.
It's pronounced KUBTEC.
KUBTEC?
KUBTEC.
KUBTEC?
KUBTEC?
KUBTEC.
KUBTEC.
KUBTEC? No, I'm kidding. They just told me that. Okay, KUBTEC.
KUBTEC. KUBTEC.
It's pronounced KUBTEC.
It's KUBTEC.
When it comes to specimen imaging, there's only one name you need to know. It's KUBTEC.
So at KUBTEC, I'm really proud of the culture we've built here, the goodwill that we put out, in the community, and that's why people show up. It's a very warm feeling. It's very overwhelming that people actually think they want to show up for us. So I'm very grateful that we're able to do that here and build that kind of culture. Overall, that's what I'm proud of. So what made you focus on intraoperative imaging and more specifically on breast cancer surgery?
When we first started, or even before we started, I was making phone calls to local hospitals in Connecticut. And at that point, we didn't know specifically what our application was going to be. I knew it was going to be in the cancer space, but it was more targeted to radiology, because at that time, radiology is where all X-ray was done.
Okay.
And because of the background that I came from and bringing in digital X-ray
Right.
in a box into radiology to replace film, that, and with the evolution of medical technology in general and having the ability to send images over the intranet in a hospital from surgery to radiology, that evolution happened due to the technology itself.
Correct.
It wasn't something that we had planned specifically to be intraoperative imaging in the OR.
Okay.
It was our focus was to image the tissue with the cancer in it in a box.
Right. Right.
And the rest just happened as the technology evolved.
And so now that you're in the breast cancer space, what do you have to say for that?
I think we've come a long ways. Obviously, in 20 years, the space has, changed drastically.
Right.
And we're not stopping at just imaging the excised tissue in a box. We've, over time, we're the only company in the world that does the tomosynthesis,
Right.
which is exactly the technology that is used in a mammogram, in a 3D mammogram. So we're the only company in the world that does that. We've done we have a lot of firsts and patents on technology that we offer. We're the only company that enables the surgeon to be able to see the optical image of the tissue and the X-ray image of the tissue superimposed on each other. Right. Things like this. And there is a lot more that we're working on. And as much as we want to work towards eliminating a patient having to come back a second time for surgery in the breast cancer space, we're now looking at other cancers where there is a need for something similar.
Right. So I think, Tom, maybe you can talk on this. Let's talk about the products we offer.
Sure, of course, absolutely. We offer products, both 2D and 3D, for both intraoperative imaging and for pathology imaging in the gross room. We also have a system that's designed to be used for breast biopsy, for imaging of specimens. So, and interestingly, that's one of the ways I think I got to KUBTEC. I had a breast imaging background, and when I heard that there was this 3D device for use in the operating room, I couldn't believe that this hadn't been done before, because, of course, that's the standard of care, right, in diagnostic and screening breast imaging. So, in any case, that's our flagship product, the MOZART, and now the MOZART IQ, which isn't just a 3D system, but it's the first amorphous selenium system using 3D intraoperatively. And it's proven to reduce re-excision rates by up to 50%. And then we also just recently introduced the Picasso Plus system, which is our next generation system for the gross room in the pathology lab. And it's designed to image really anything but mastectomies and other tissues. And amorphous selenium, of course, is the gold standard for breast imaging. So exquisite images. It has a tablet. So the pathologist assistant now can bring a tablet to his or her grossing station. And in pathology, it's all about efficiency. And so it makes them more efficient, cuts down on their work time, and gets results to patients more quickly.
And the probe, in line with reducing the chances of you coming back for a second surgery,
Right.
we have the Gamma Pro, which is a probe that is used to find the sentinel lymph node. It is the node that is carrying the cancer. It's very precise, very accurate, and it's something that helps the surgeon find the specific lymph node that has cancer, so you can remove the node that has the cancer,
Right.
so reduce the chances of the cancer remaining in the patient, and at the same time not taking out too many lymph nodes, so that could lead to other challenges like lymphedema post surgery. So that's another technology that we're very, very proud of, and that we've introduced as an integrated solution for the surgeon.
So overall, the Mozart is our best system,
The
right?
flagship system, yes.
Flagship system. And how is it different from what you might find outside?
So traditionally, or let me kind of take you along the continuum, if you will. It's originally tissue was imaged by taking the tissue and bringing it to radiology and imaging it on a mammography system.
Right.
The first 2D systems that came out brought that into the operating room.
Right.
But of course, breast cancer is not a two-dimensional disease. What Mozart does is it provides 1 millimeter slices from anterior to posterior, and every slice has its own margins.
Right.
So unlike two-dimensional imaging where you get a single view, it tells you something's there, you just don't know where there is, if you will.
Right.
3D tells you where the cancer is relative to all the peripheral margins, and that enables the surgeon to better evaluate his or her surgical margins before they close up and the patient leaves the operating room. Worldwide, 20 to 25% of surgeries result in a re-excision. We're fighting that battle to reduce re-excisions.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to a couple of patients who had to, at least one of them had like 5 surgeries post, their chemo. And it was very hard battle that she fought. And that's how she started the Mozart mission, which was very, very inspirational. And she left like kind of a legacy for herself, because now every student that they bring to the hospital, they introduce them to what the community did for the hospital by showing them the Mozart, which is kind of very powerful, I say.
Absolutely. I mean, it is unfortunate that she had to go through so many surgeries.
Right.
We strongly believe that although having a Mozart in the OR is not going to eliminate any chance of a second surgery, but it goes a long way in reducing the chances
Correct.
of you having a second surgery. And that second surgery has tremendous emotional, physical load on the patient,
Right.
but there's also a financial implication to the hospital, which has to do a second surgery, the surgeon's time, the OR time, the chances of a patient getting a hospital-based infection. The longer time they spend in the hospital, the more the chances of them getting some other disease, which I know, I mean, right through COVID, everybody was paranoid about that. So there is so many, it's like an onion. When you peel that, the layers of advantages that you can get with our technology to the healthcare system and to the patient. We're very lucky to be in a position to offer something like that.
Right, right.
And patients care about cosmesis too. And so if you can reduce re-excisions and save and preserve healthy tissue, which Mozart can aid in, that's important as well. Breast surgeons today, very accomplished. They're practicing breast conserving surgery, and this provides them with a tool that allows them to make the most use of their talents.
So would you say, this our machine is used for lumpectomies only, or for mastectomies as well? And does it change things for a patient who who's told you have to have a mastectomy, but maybe we can kind of improve your health by just a lumpectomy?
The chances are better for a patient to have a lumpectomy if our technology is being used, because
Okay.
the surgeon can be more specific about what tissue to be removed.
Right.
Having said that, even if a patient does get a mastectomy, that does not as there has been data published in the last few years, there could be cancer at the chest wall,
Right.
which the surgeon wouldn't be able to tell if they didn't use any kind of imaging technology in the OR. So using our system like ours, even in a mastectomy, is helpful for the patient and the surgeon.
Okay, so that I just wanted to draw a picture of what capability the machine can put in a surgeon's hands, essentially.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. Just because you have a mastectomy doesn't mean that the cancer is all removed, because they found the cancer could be right at the margin on the chest wall. And so the imaging helps. Intraoperative tomosynthesis, the MOZART system, would help with that
Imaging
as
of
well.
mastectomies has increased significantly over the last 5 years.
That's I think it's good for the patients to understand what is available to them when they're going into surgery, and they should be asking these questions of the surgeons. Can you explain what 3D tomosynthesis is?
So there is 3D is typically, in the traditional sense, is when you go in for a CAT scan, they would do a full three-dimensional X-ray
Right.
of the patient.
Right.
This is not done in mammography. In mammography, they do a limited angle 3D imaging, which is called tomosynthesis. And all mammograms, 3D mammograms, are done using tomosynthesis technology, where you do 3D in a single dimension, going from top to bottom of the breast.
Right.
And there is several advantages of that. It reduces the amount of radiation dose to the patient. It increases the speed at which it is done. And also tomosynthesis, when you're looking at it in a single dimension, going from top to bottom, it helps the radiologist, it helps the surgeon focus and see specifically where the cancer is. So bringing that technology to the OR has been very helpful to the surgeons and the radiologists, who typically have trained their eyes, their brains are trained at looking at breast cancer in going from top to bottom.
Right.
And when they can see the cancer in the excised tissue in the exact same process, going from top to bottom, it becomes easier for them to locate what they're looking for and be able to tell if there is something that they need to go back for to get more.
So it just makes so they're getting the same visual in two different places, except this is in the OR,
Right.
Which is real time while they're actually performing the surgery.
It's within a few seconds, less than 90 seconds of removing it from the body and placing it in the system. The surgeon has visibility of the images.
Yeah. So Tom, you're on the front lines with the surgeons. Can you walk us through the moment a breast surgeon uses a KUBTEC machine in the OR, and what happens when the specimen is imaged?
The process itself. Sure. So the tissue is removed and it's brought over to a cabinet X-ray system. In this case, we're talking about the MOZART IQ. It's placed in the cabinet. There's you have a circulator in the room. You have surgical techs, other staff, and it's really essentially one button operation. They select 3D. The tissue is imaged again in three-dimensionally. The image comes up in less than 90 seconds. The surgeon has the ability from the operating table to use voice commands to go through the image and interpret that image very easily and quickly to identify the location of microcalcifications, the tumor itself, markers and clips, etc. This all takes place, again, in less than a couple of minutes.
That's amazing. So, what's a reaction you've seen when a doctor first uses the Mozart and sees the clarity of the image or the confidence it gives them?
We're fortunate because we get a couple of what we call aha moments. One is when they go through the 3D slices, because I think some of them never thought that they would be able to have that kind of clarity and that type of information available to them when you're accustomed to using 2D for 20 years, right? So they understand the impact this can have on their surgical practice, because no surgeon wants to, the hardest call they can make is you have to come back for another surgery, right? So that's one aha moment. The other one is, Vikram alluded to it earlier, we have an optical camera embedded in our system. And so we combine the optical image and the x-ray so the clinician can see on the physical specimen what they see radiographically. Right. So they see that and they're wowed a second time. So it's a pretty exciting time. It's a fun technology to introduce to surgeons.
So, can you talk about the radiation dose involved with the Mozart? Is it safe for the OR team and the patient?
So all our systems that enter a hospital are built to be approved by the FDA.
Right.
When a system like ours is being used, even though there is X-ray being generated inside the system, there could be a nurse or a surgeon or a patient standing next to it, and they are not exposed to any radiation. Let me correct that. They're exposed to less radiation than they would if they were standing just outside in the sun.
So it's very minimal.
It's basically non-existent, negligible, yes.
How accessible is KUBTEC's technology to hospitals and breast centers around the country and the world? Are you working to bring it to underserved communities?
Absolutely. In fact, we have systems installed in 40 countries around the world,
Okay.
and growing. And that is the goal of going out and attending conferences in Asia now. We have a few systems installed in Australia, though Australia is not underserved, but as far away as Australia, if I may say.
Right.
And that is the focus, to have the technology available for the patients. The challenge is breast cancer for the longest time has been known as a first world disease.
Okay.
Not that people in the underserved countries don't get breast cancer, but there is so many other challenges that they're facing that the government or the hospital medical system does not have the resources to focus on treatment of breast cancer.
Also, I think a lot of people go undiagnosed because
Right.
they don't know what they're looking at.
Right.
They don't have the services available to
Right.
them.
Right.
So the fact that this machine actually adds to the value of what they do in the OR, it reduces their costs in serving the patients. It actually helps and provides that service.
We are already in the Arab world. We are in India. We're in Taiwan, Japan.
Okay.
And growing around Asia.
Yeah, I would say that our mission is to actually grow our profile around the world and get this technology in the hands of clinicians, not just in North America, but worldwide. And we're quickly moving in that direction. As Vikram said, we have sales in 40 countries. We have representatives around the world delivering our technology to clinicians far and wide.
Latin America, Asia.
That's excellent. So, Vikram, how do you see the role of private companies like KUBTEC in filling the innovation gaps left by larger medical institutions?
So I'm glad you're asking that question, because that's something that we pride ourselves on. It's on the one hand, some of the bigger publicly traded companies have larger amounts of money that they spend on coffee in a year than what is our R&D budget. But having said that, when we come across or work on a technology that we believe is going to make a difference, we move very quickly. We have the ability to turn on a dime. And I think that has been one of our strengths over the years, that advances in technology, improvement in features, that can make a difference in the quality of care that the physician is providing.
Right.
We're able to move very quickly and get the approvals, whether it's an FDA approval, whether it's a CE or a Health Canada approval,
Right.
and get that technology to market a lot faster than it would take some of the larger companies to do that.
So that is the difference between KUBTEC, the small private company, as opposed to a larger company, right? And
Right.
that's how we are in the market today.
Yes. And I mean, this is the environment that, if I may say, we have grown up in over the 20 years. Being a technology company in the US, you cannot say enough about how amazingly helpful the US technology environment is for a small startup started by an immigrant who has driven this to success with help and support from the environment that we are living in.
One of the last questions that I'll ask you is, what do you want every woman diagnosed with breast cancer to know about the choices she has and how KUBTEC might help her?
I would say that firstly, that information is power. I think patients are better informed than ever now. But in our particular space, I think it's a little more of a challenge for the patient. They hear about their annual mammogram every year. They see on TV commercials about mammograms. You don't hear as much about what happens when you're under anesthesia and you're on that operating table. And so, my message would be, because information is power, be informed about the entire continuum of care.
Correct.
Ask your surgeon the questions, not just what happens before my surgery, but during and afterward.
That's an excellent point. Do you have any message for them?
No, I agree 100%. It is a challenge. The patient is already under tremendous stress.
Right.
When they go to visit the surgeon. But the more you know, the better prepared you're going to be. So always ask some of these questions when you visit the surgeon.
Right. I think my message to the women from a KUBTEC point of view is empower yourself with knowledge, hope, and understand what your journey is going to look like, because it's very important, instead of letting fear override all of what you're going to go through. All this knowledge can help you make the right decisions. Vikram, Tom, thank you for starting this journey, this mission, and this heart with us. To our listeners, if you or someone you love is walking through a diagnosis, know that innovation, love, and precision are on your side. You can learn more at KUBTEC.com, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Mood Food Podcast for more stories like this. Because food is not just taste, it's intention, memory, and medicine. Technology is the food that is prepared with intention, leading to innovation that becomes medicine when it's made with love. Until next time, stay healthy. Thank you.